Hey Bulldogs, Chris Bryant here. I got a CCNA and CCENT video boot camp here for you, and a little bit of help as far as analyzing an exam question as well. I want to give you a couple of tips on that. It's an important skill to have because the questions, like the one you're going to see up on the board in about 15 seconds, it's not tricky. You just have to pay a little extra attention to the details and what it's telling you. Because I'm sure you've been on a troubleshooting call before where you get there and there's really no trouble. Well, that could be the case on an exam question as well. Now, let's take a look at this particular practice question. The cabling between two directly connected serial 1 interfaces has been tested and is correct. One end of the connection is running HDLC and the other is running PPP. When you run the command show interface serial 1, which of these four do you expect to see? So what I mean by analyzing the question, it's nothing complex. It's not like we got a lot going on here, but a couple things we need to watch. The first one is we're being told the cabling is fine. So we can actually eliminate that from our troubleshooting. The second sentence of the question is one end of the connection is running HDLC and the other is running PPP. We have to know at the very beginning, is that a problem to begin with? Because it might not be. It might be perfectly fine. We're going to check that out on live equipment in just a moment. But there's one more thing I want to tell you about a question like this because it happens to everybody. You get a question and you're just not quite sure of the answer. If that happens to you, don't let it throw you. It happens to everybody. But what you can do is eliminate obviously wrong answers. There's one of these four answers that literally can't happen. Do you know which one it is? One of these four things can't happen. And it is D, because the first part of this output refers to the physical state of the interface. We could have a cable missing, we could have just a cable fried, etc. But we know that's not the case here. But if the physical part of the connection is down, the logical part cannot be up, and that's what the line protocol is. And I really hammer at this point because I know the books when I was studying for my NA, nobody told you what the line protocol even was. It's like, well, okay, that's down. What does that mean? That means there's a logical issue. And as you'll see in your NA studies, if you haven't already, with a connection like this, it could be an encapsulation mismatch, could be a timer problem, the clock rate's missing. If you're running frame relay, it could be the LMI. It can be a lot of things. But this one, D, literally cannot happen. So we can eliminate that one right off the bat. Now, on the live equipment right now, let's go ahead and run show interface serial 1. Because what I have here is a setup where HDLC is running on both sides of the direct connection. And right now we can see serial 1 is up, line protocol is up. And I gave you a hint to this one a few seconds ago with a certain word that I used. HDLC on this end, up and up. But the question is, one end of the connection is running HDLC and the other is running PPP. So let's take a look. And of course, another question I could give you here is how do we do that? What's the command? It's just encapsulation PPP. So is this an issue? Well, apparently, apparently it's a pretty bad issue because the connection was dropped immediately. Line protocol changed state to down. Notice that the physical state of the interface is not even mentioned. It doesn't say anything here about serial 1 interface went down, anything like that at all. So what we have here is that word I used was mismatch, an encapsulation mismatch. And when you have an encapsulation mismatch like this one, that is a logical issue. It is not a physical issue. So we know that A isn't the right answer because that's what we want at the end, but with an encapsulation mismatch, we're not going to have that. What we are going to end up having, though, is B. And let's go back up to the live equipment and verify that. And there it is. Serial 1 is up, line protocol is down. This means that physically everything's fine, but logically there's an issue. Now, let me give you that real world tip in just a second, because we're going to go ahead and put this right back to HDLC. Now with the line protocol, on occasion, especially in a lab environment, when you first open an interface, even if there is an encapsulation mismatch, you can see the line protocol go up. But if the mismatch is there, it's going to go back down. And you can see here the line protocol change state to up. The moral of that very quick story that I want to give you is simply this. Whenever you see the line protocol go up and you're working on a router, I don't care if you just fixed it or you're not quite sure why it just went up, doesn't matter. The key is stick around for about 60 seconds and make sure it stays up, because it could just be flapping on you. There could be an encapsulation problem, there could be something else going on, but whenever you see that line protocol come up, please stick around for 60 seconds and make sure it stays up. I'm Chris Bryant. Thanks for taking today's video practice exam and for making TBA part of your Cisco certification success story.